with Pastor Niyi Adesoya. By the way, how are you doing? I trust that you are doing great, and I hope that you're keeping safe and sane as well. It's so good to have you here again. This is our Thursday leadership series. And for those joining us for the first time, I'd like to welcome you very, very specially. It's good to have you here. You couldn't have been anywhere else better than this, because here we are furnished with life nuggets, that will help us to transverse the path of success and from reliable facilitators. And today we're going to be having our one and only Pastor Niyi Adesoya. So before we go ahead, while we're waiting for the rest of the class members, as it were, to join us, please, if you have testimonials, if there are certain things you would like to talk about and share with us, ways in which the class, has been of benefit to you, and the ways that you have been able to adopt certain strategies that have been changing your life, changing your business, changing your way and your mode of leadership in your place of work. And I'm speaking because here we have both employees and employers, we have entrepreneurs and a lot of other people. So if you have testimonials and you want to share with us, if there's anything you'd like to talk to us about, on this platform, please let us know with a show of your hand. Let us know with a show of your hands in the participants section, and then I can unmute you so that you will speak. Please, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but if you can hear me, can I just see a message at the chat section?
Yeah, good.
Okay, sir. While we are waiting for the hands to go up, this is the leadership series, like I said. We, especially for those who are joining us for the first time, I'd like to encourage till the end of the class. There's going to be a powerful question and answer session, right after the teaching, right after the lecture. There's also going to be a dance party at the end of this. So you don't want to miss it. Just stay glued and you are going to have a wonderful and a fantastic time this evening. For those joining us outside of Nigeria, we understand there could be difference in time zones. So please just pardon me when I say things like this evening. Topics that have been discussed on this platform include forward-looking leadership, busting the myths of mentorship, relational leadership, and several other truths that Pastor Niyi has shared with us from his book, The Leadership Quadrant, and of course from his life experiences. There are so many other topics we discussed on Saturdays as well, and I'm sure Pastor Niyi will be telling us a lot more about those series, but I'm just going to share some of the topics with us so that you can know that when we come into this place, we don't come to play, the deal maker, billionaire code, understanding the wealth and business recovery process, and certain other programs that we have been engaged with, and the high caliber of people who come to talk to us here. So I don't know if there's still anybody who wants to talk before we start the class. Please show by a raise of your hand. And while we're waiting for that, I'd just like to inform us of the ground rules of the class before we go ahead. Please ensure that you have 100% comportment. Please make sure that you are camera compliant, because we would like to see your lovely faces. Please, before you can ask your question, ensure that your camera is on so that we will unmute you. Your camera needs to be on. We need to see you, and then we will unmute you. You will go ahead to ask your question. This session is also recorded, so please, you just want to be at your best. Thank you so much for tuning in again tonight. In the absence of anyone who would like to speak at the beginning of this class, I mean, it's still open. While I'm speaking, you can still raise your hand. But I would like to just go ahead to introduce our facilitator for tonight. Our facilitator for tonight. His name is Pastor Niyi Adesoya, and he is an award-winning professional and performance strategist. He's a management consultant, and he's the CEO of the Fifth Gear Plus. His professional experience has been transforming a lot of individuals and multinational companies, and this has resulted to increased performance as well as increased productivity. In the words of Fela Durotui, he said that leaders lead followers, but great leaders lead leaders. And he describes Pastor Niyi Adesoya as a great leader. Pastor Niyi Adesoya is a renowned author. He's an executive coach, a keynote speaker. He is an entrepreneur, a leadership development expert, and he is a member of the board of various companies. So with all the joy in your heart and with so much excitement, I'd like you to show with a hand clap or your virtual hand clap. Please make welcome tonight our very own one and only facilitator, Pastor Niyi Adesoya.
Wow. It's good to have all of you here today. Like you can see, we are trying a lot of things and trying to make sure that we get some things done very fast. Now you can see what is spotlighted. This is the studio. We're trying to put up a studio right here in my office. And then in preparation for tomorrow, the Sales Academy. So we want to do a situation where we can see everybody at once. So if your video is not on, this is the time for you to put it on. It would be nice for us to see your videos, see your beautiful faces, so we can interact with each and every one of us, not because we are limited by what's called the screens. We have 4 screens, actually 5, including mine. So if you can switch on your videos, it would be nice for us to see you. Yeah, good. Thank you, Bennett. Thank you. Kendi Ailero. Yeah, there's a Kendi Ailero here. I can see your face. Thank you for joining in. We have another Kendi Ailero in our office here. So you guys need to meet somehow. Oyinloye, good to see you. Korede, good to see you. Emmanuel, what's happening? Please, can you help me unmute Emmanuel? Let me talk to Emmanuel from here. What's happening? It's been a while. We are supposed to talk. Why are we not talking? Talk to me now.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm very well, sir. Thank you so much. I'm excited. I'm going to hear from you again tonight.
Awesome. Probably when we're done, you put the call to me. Let us talk more about that, guys. We're trying to get our hands on all the necessary things. This is the new normal, like they say, new normal. So we're still trying to figure out how do we position this, how do we position that, and all that. So you'll be seeing me looking at some screens. Don't think I'm looking away. I'm actually looking at you, looking at those screens right now. So you're welcome. And then today we'll be talking about, it's all about game changers. We'll be talking throughout the month, different kinds of game changers that we have and how you can use them to your advantage. And then today we were talking about understanding the politics of your game, That is very, very important for us to know. Now, I've been speaking for quite some years, since 1993. I started my professional speaking career 2005, and that's 15 years away. And to the glory of God, I have stayed relevant, and definitely on top of my game, And I have, to the glory of God, the highest paying ticket event, knowledge ticket event in Nigeria. When I mean highest paying, I mean, I share probably the same position with my mentor because he also has the highest pay. And now this is not that you put a price on your ticket and then people are not coming. No, you put a price on your ticket and people are paying for it. And also, to the glory of God, I think also I have one of the highest coaching also in Nigeria. People paying you some thousands of dollars before for them to be part of that. So those are some of the things that I have been able to achieve with some of the things I'm going to be teaching you today. So you need to pay attention, bring your pen and your paper, and let us work based on my experiences. And then, in other words, I'm going to use myself as a case study. I'm going to use myself as a case study going forward. Because whether you like it or not, whenever you are out to compete, whenever you are out to outsmart somebody, whenever you are out to get something that is not available to everybody, you are already in a game. You are already in the game. So once you know that you're already in the game, you sure must know how to be at the advantage of anything that you do. So understanding the politics of your game. Now, yesterday I was at a program, webinar, and then I was asked the same question: how have I stayed relevant in this space of almost 2 decades of being a professional speaker, but over almost 3 decades of being a speaker? How have I stayed relevant? How come people hear my voice 15 years ago and they are still hearing my voice even up till this moment? And how have I been able to do it? And you know what, when I was going to answer, I said, I don't want to sound religious. I don't want to sound like somebody who is just going to be talking about the Bible or what God did, what God did not do. I was trying to be very strategic. I was trying to be very logical, but truth be told, I actually started changing my game when I encountered some scriptures. I started changing my game when I encountered some scriptures. So I would not be shy to not bring those scriptures. Actually, I'm going to use those scriptures as my foundation in discussing with you today. Now, those scriptures changed my life for good. One of those scriptures, I actually don't like it. I don't like reading it because I got so angry with God. I got so angry with Jesus that how can this happen? Talking about the unfaithful steward. Many of us who are Christians, we understand that. You can read that in the book of Luke 16. Yeah, Luke 16, talking about the unfaithful steward. And then one of the sentences I don't like there is when God said, or when Jesus said in that parable, that the children of this world are wiser than the children of light. This world are wiser than us. I mean, I took exceptions to that. I was really, really, really angry to the point that I told myself, when I get to heaven and I see Jesus Christ, is going to explain this to me himself. Why can you say that? But having done further studies, I realized that he was trying to pass us a message on how to be very smart on this earth. He told us that you should be gentle as a dove, but also wise as a serpent. In other words, it should be so gentle that you don't harm anybody, but at the same time, when it comes to the people of the world, when it comes to the people that you're competing with in the corporate world, they should not be smarter than you. In other words, there should be no game that they are playing that you're not aware of. So they can't outsmart you to the whole thing. So that's why we're going to pick it up from there and then run through it and then get to know a whole lot of things that we can learn from that particular scripture. The second scripture that actually helped me to be on top of my game, manage the game, be outstanding in my field is actually also from the Bible. Scriptures are from the Bible though. So anyway, so it's Matthew 25 from verse 14. Many of us know the parable of the dollars, same thing parable of Jesus Christ, telling us that a man was going to a far country, so he gave 5 talents to one of his servants, he gave 2 talents to one of the servants, and he gave 1 to another. And then after a time, he came back to request a feedback from them, what they've done with the talent. Most of the time, we focus on the guy who got 5. We focus on the guy who got 5 and then brought out an extra 5 and then made 11. And then we focus on the guy who got 2. Most of us do not focus on the guy who's got 1, And then actually that guy who's got 1 actually pointed us to how the whole thing started. He pointed us to the ingenuity of the boss. I mean, the man who owns the 8 talents in the first place. And let me just say this. You need to realize that once you are trading with 5 talents, you are the game. Once you're trading with 2 talents, you are the game. Once you're trading with 1 talent, you're still the game. But the guy who plays the game is the guy who owns 8 talents. When you go to the marketplace, you go to buy or you go to sell. Now, the guy who goes to sell is at an advantage than the guy who comes to buy. But have you ever thought about it that there's a guy who owns the market? The guy who owns the market is the master player, playing with the game of the seller and playing with the game of the buyer. So I actually do not want to trade with 5. I don't want to trade with 2. I don't want to trade with 1. I actually want to be the man who gave the people the 8 talents to trade with. And then that is the position that you must be. So in understanding how to be on top of your game, you don't need to study the 5 talents. You don't need to study the guy with the 2 talents. What you need to study is the guy with the 8 talents. And guess what? When you combine Matthew 25 and Luke 16, it gives you a balanced perspective to this game thing that we're talking about. First, it gives you Matthew 25, verse 14 talks about what you need to do to yourself, what you need to imbibe, the kind of habit you need to imbibe for you to be able to play a successful game and be on top of your game. 1. And then, but Luke 16 now also takes your attention away from yourself and puts your attention on other people. In other words, it's a combination of intra-personal skill and interpersonal skills. The Matthew 25 talks about intra-personal skills, while the other one talks about the interpersonal skills. So we're going to go through that, and we're going to learn a lot of things from this. So the first one I want to talk about is first, let people consider ourselves. But you know what? All these things, when you start reading it from the original version of the Bible that most of us read, King James Version, New King James Version, you definitely will not understand what we mean at all, or you not have a proper understanding of what we mean. Until I started reading other translations, I do not understand it properly. And the best translation that we'll be considering today for the I know you don't need to get your Bible. I've got those slides there. If you can help me project one of the slides that have the scriptures, guys, I will appreciate it. No, can I have the next one? Let us start from Matthew 25 from verse 14. No, not this. Yeah, that. Good. Thank you. Now, when you look at it, this is Luke 16, verse 8, talking about Matthew 25, verse 14, talking about the parable of talents. Now, I'll explain every other one to you, but this is the most important one that we will have to focus on today. The servant given 1,000 said, remember 1 talent? Said, Master, I know you have high standard. Now, that's number 1 there. Guys, listen to me. For you to be able to play successfully, and be on top of your game, the first thing you must realize that you must have high standard. High standard. In other words, the standard that is prevalent, the standard that is normal in the community or in the industry that you play, your standard must be at least a step higher. So when other people are congratulating themselves based on some average delivery, you cannot afford to be celebrating average delivery. Whatever services you're doing, whatever products you're doing, it must be of high standard. So anybody who wants to play this game and be on top of their game must want high standard. Number two, must hate careless ways. In other words, everything must be intentional. Intentional. Your going out must be intentional. Your dressing must be intentional. Your talking must be intentional. You do not just do anything carelessly. You cannot afford it. So whatever you do, when I go out, I'm careful about my dressing. I'm careful about my disposition. I'm even careful about the way I conduct myself in public. Because you know what? People are watching you. People are watching you. You cannot afford to just be careless and just do anything the way you want to do it. Now, guess what they said? And that you demand the best. You demand the best. Now, the guys who work with me, you will realize that, look, every time we come together, there is always something to work on. And people may say, okay, Neil, you did so well. I've done programs in a hotel, and then I allow them to bask in the euphoria of the bask in the experience of a wonderful program, but I do not allow them to stay there because there is always a best. By the time you have done the best that you have done becomes better, becomes good, is no more the best. So somebody else is looking at you, benchmarking you, and trying to see how they can beat you to that best. So you cannot stay there and say, because, okay, I've achieved something other people have not achieved, so let us build a monument or a museum around this and let us celebrate that. You can't do that. You know, people always say this, that you do not change, you do not fix what is working. You don't fix what is working. But I always tell people, although you do not fix what is working, but you must question what is working. When you question what is working, what you're trying to do is to ensure that you are making a demand even when you have achieved the best. And guess what the scripture also says here? It said, makes no allowance for error. No allowance for error. I tell people that everybody is prone to error. We cannot make errors, but at least you do not give the error too much allowance. No. In other words, when you make a mistake, you correct it immediately. Because when we talk about you being on top of your game, there is a demand that is placed on you. Because you can never be on top of your game if you are error prone. You can never be on top of your game if you're not the best in the field. You are not on top of your game if you're careless with what you say, what you do, how you conduct yourself. You cannot be the best. So the guy with the 1 talent is trying to tell us right now, this is how this guy got the 8 talents. The guy who is playing this game is trying to tell, we are the game, he is the player. But now he's trying to tell us, this is how it became a player of the game. Number 1, high standard. 2, intentionality. 3, demands the best. 4, makes no allowance for error. Now, guys, those are the 4 things you must do. Those are the 4 things I did to make sure that, okay, when it comes to these intrapersonal skills, working on myself, I had to deal with that. Because before you go into the market, the first thing you want to ask is, what have you done? How good are you? It's only the good guy that will be on top of his game. You know, we hear this saying also from the scriptures. He that is diligent in his work. See a man who is diligent. He will stand before king and not before mere men. And you need to realize that it takes performance, it takes being the best to be able to stand before kings. But I have never in my life prayed that I should stand before a king. You're wondering. I've always prayed that, Lord, make me the king that people will stand before. Make me a king. Because when you're standing before a king, you are the game. When you are the king, you are the player. When you're the king, you are always on top of the game. People are trying to please you. People are trying to make you feel okay. So that is that about you, what you need to do. Remember the 4 things that we said? Hope you remember that. If you remember that, just put that on the text message on the chat room so that I can see that. Remember that, and then let us know that we understand that. Please, I want to see the your comment on the chat room right now. Let me know you understand. Number 1, high standard. Your standard must be impeccable. Your standard must be way above the others. Number 2, you have to be intentional. You must be intentional. I try to, sometimes I don't tell people how they ought to relate with me, but you know what I do? I make sure that I put myself in that position to let them know how to relate with me. I put myself in that position. I do not allow some things. Somebody said, your life is too much, your emotions is too much power to give to another man. So you don't allow people to determine how they relate with you. You have to show them how you want them to relate with you without not necessarily uttering a word. I go on some trips to speak in churches, corporate organizations, and corporate organization, you already have a deal. We've signed the deal, we've agreed on the deal, we've said this is what you have to do, this is what I have to do, and then that is settled. No doubt about that, no problem about that. But by the time you're talking to churches, because of your orientation, it is whatever is laid before you, eat without asking questions. You can't be making demands that this is what you should do, that is what you should do based on the scriptural injunction. So what do I do? What do I do? Once you invite me, I come to your place and I see how you treated me. No problem. I won't raise any word. I won't fight you. I won't do anything. The next time I'm coming to that city, I'm going to go put myself in my own kind of hotel, and then I invite you over for lunch. I will invite you over for dinner. And what am I trying to do? I'm trying to tell you that, no, the next time you invite me, this is how I treat myself, and this is how I want to be treated. So everything you do must be intentional. You cannot be careless with your ways. Now, let's leave that. Let's talk about the next, that's others, Luke 16, Luke 16, in the Message translation, talking about the crooked servant. This is where it gets interesting. This is where it gets really, really, really interesting. Look at that, Message translation also. It said, here is a surprise. The master praised the crooked manager. You remember given the background story to this, a servant was about to be sacked by his master. So he told him, go and put your ways, I'm about to sack you. So he went and did some shoddy things, trying to make sure that there's a soft landing with him, with his master's creditors. Now we'll leave that. That is a debate for another day. Let's leave that for another day. Whether it was right or wrong, that's the debate for another day. But that is not, has got nothing to do with what we want to do right here. So after he has done that, he came back to his master, and the master still retained him on that job. You're asking why. That is not a debate for that day. But listen to what he did, how he was able to get himself. We can learn from that, know how to always position yourself at the top. He said the master praised the crooked manager and said, and why? Because he knew how to look after himself. He knew how to look after himself. Now, the question I want to ask you here, if you want to be on top of your game, do you know how to look after yourself? Do you know how to look after yourself? Is there a meeting that will hold that your case will be discussed, that you can say without a doubt that I've got somebody on that table that has got my back? If there is a meeting going on anywhere and then people You do not have anybody on that table who knows you, who can vouch for you, who can protect you. You have become an endangered species. I mean, just like that, endangered species. Because everyone who is smart, anyone who is in any trade, anyone who is in any industry, anybody who is anywhere trying to hit the top must realize that politics or playing politics is a very vital decision that you have to make. Now, listen to me, anybody that tells you you don't bother, you don't have to play politics, just do your beats, play your role, perform excellently, and that's all you need. That's a lie. That is a big lie, because people don't get to the top of their game by performance alone. They get to the top of their game with performance and then knowing how to play the politics in their game. Now, guess what this guy did? According to the Message translation, he said, he knew how to look after himself. So every smart person who wants to play the game knows that the regulators in your industry, the people that cause the shots in your industry, do you have them as friends at every different layers? You must. Because there will be a time a decision will be made, or somebody will ask a question about you, and there is nobody on that table who can say something for you. That's a big tragedy and a big mess if you do not know what to do. You know, there was a time I had a situation with one of my guys who was having a problem with the police in Nigeria, and then we all know how the police in Nigeria could be. Fantastic set of people. So I have to be on top of that. For me to be on top of that, I need to activate my different layers of my game. I need to activate it. I activated to the point that I got to the presidency office in Nigeria. I have to activate a relationship there just in case we have to get there. I must be on top of this situation. And then the only way I can be on top of this situation is because I have built relationship across board. I built relationship across board, then I can activate it because those people are there to look after me. Those people are there to look after me. So the question now is, do you know how to look after yourself? Who is in your industry that is ahead of you, who is a regulator that you can say, this person knows me? Who is that person in your office that is a decision maker that you can say, this person knows me? And I think this is the time for some of us to go back to our archives and then go and figure out what we said about mentoring, how to get the best out of a mentor. So you need to learn that, okay, is it possible? Okay, can you hear me? Awesome. So that's that you must know how to look after yourself. Now let us read on. It says, streetwise people are smarter in this regard than law-abiding citizens. That's very interesting, you know. Streetwise people are smarter. In other words, the guys who are on the street, they understand it better than some people who are very law-abiding. Why? They know that performance goes hand in hand with politics. You don't do performance and neglect politics. You don't do politics and neglect performance. Both must go hand in hand. The streetwise people are law-abiding. They are on constant alert. Constant alert. In other words, they are so proactive in their thinking that there is nothing that meets them by surprise. So if you're not in this category of being proactive with your thinking, what you need to do is to make sure that you join forces with people who are the people that think ahead of time, who are the people that are futuristic with their thinking. Now, all these things are very, very important for you to know so that you can know how to position yourself. I mean, constant alert. I don't want anything to meet me by surprise. I started telling people, looking at the numbers right now, there is a fresh spike of the coronavirus, COVID-19 in Spain, in Italy, and in France, and America is also saying their own. And then I'm looking at the numbers also. We talk about the numbers, if time permits us today. I'm looking at the numbers in the UK, although the numbers in Nigeria is getting better. I mean, in Lagos, but you know how numbers are in Nigeria. You don't trust those numbers too much. But let us just assume that it's doing okay. You just assume that it's doing okay. But you look at the numbers, but that tells you something. That means there might be, we pray that there will never be, but there just might be a second wave. So if there's going to be a second wave, what are your strategies? What are your strategies for mitigating against it or being on top when the second wave comes? Now, the first wave came, we were not ready for it. We were not planning for it. We did not see it coming. But the second wave must not meet you without preparing. So that is what it means to be on top of your game when you are in constant alert, looking for angles. Now, in as much as angle is the intersection of two straight lines, and we also know that angle also could be someone's point of view. When you're discussing with someone, say, yeah, I get the angle you're coming from. I get the angle you're coming from. In other words, I get your point of view. I get your point of reference. I get that, I get this, I get that. So the question now is, are you looking for angles? Do you have a point of view? Is your line intercepting with what the company's policy? Is there a way your straight line is intercepting the straight line of your company's policy? Is there a way that your line is intercepting with the federal government's policy according to your industry? You must be able to create an angle for yourself. Your own point of reference, your own point of decision making, your own point of coming into this. Now, let me share something with you. When I was going to register my company, my consulting firm, everywhere we went to, they told us that no, you cannot start a consulting firm unless you have an MBA or you have a professional certification that can justify that you should have a consulting firm. That was what they told me. But guess what? I registered my consulting firm. Because there's always a lacuna somewhere. You need to just look at it critically. When they said that, they did say that the MD must have MBA, the MD must have a professional certificate before you can start the company. What they just needed is somebody who could just present a certification or the MBA before they can register the company. That is looking at the intersection. You look at where you can intercept the line. What did I do? Look at somebody around me who's got an MBA. I didn't have an MBA. He got an MBA. I gave you 1% or 2% of my company. He agreed to be part of it, and boom, registered. There was supposed to be a policy that knocked me off, but the policy did not knock me off because I know how to intercept that policy because I have an angle to it. So what is your own angle? You need to be able to get that for you to be on top of your game. And then surviving by their wit, surviving by their tactfulness, surviving by their thinking. So nobody can be on top of their game without thinking ahead of time, without thinking creatively, innovatively, proactively, and also reactively. You have to think proactively and also reactively. I would prefer the proactive because if you do a lot of proactive thinking, you don't have to react to anything that is coming. It's only when you don't think proactively, that's when you begin to react to, you need to start doing reactive thinking, which is more about, crisis management. Crisis management or managing crisis instead of crisis management. So they think, survive by their wit. I want you to, now that's the advice for you, everybody here. I want you to be smarter in the same way, but for what is right. Now, the thing there, that's a caveat, saying that all those things that you have learned, how to be taking care of yourself, how to outsmart the people, how to look at it from a different angle, how to be on constant alert. All these things can be used to bring people down. All these things can be used to damage people's life. But he said, in as much as you know this, in as much as you are as wise as a serpent, you also must be gentle as a dove. You also must be gentle as a dove. That's why he said there, but for what is right. But for what is right. And this is the power of genuine politics, playing politics. You don't play politics to harm other people. You play politics for the greater good of humanity. So this is what it means. You have something, I can take this, but you are not qualified to take this. You are not qualified to take it. So greater good to have is cause. That is actually strength. Most of us should know that. Now, let's go on. And then to using every to stimulate you to creative survival. I think I said a lot about that. Every adversity. There's something we call inspirational discipline. I'm not going very far yet because no matter happening around, they're giving you a lot of inspiration. You have to get to that point where you sometimes get dissatisfied with those inspirational dissatisfaction. You get to a point where your dissatisfaction turns to inspiration. Sometimes we have achieved a lot. Sometimes we've gone so far. I'm wondering, no, this is not where I want to be. This is not what I want to do. There's just something bigger than where I am right now. You need that. So you need those crises to stimulate you and make your brain to work. Put your brain to work. Adversity is supposed to bring out the best in you. That's why we tell people, whenever you hear somebody pray for you that you will never face adversity, don't say amen. Always say amen to the one that says that you will overcome all adversities. So that is where the real strength of survival is built. Now, it's well done to say that to concentrate your attention on the bare essentials. To concentrate your attention on the bare essentials. That's what we're going to be talking about in the next 3 weeks after today. We're going to be concentrating on some bare essentials of the things that you need to bring on board for you to be on top of your game. Those are the things we call the game changers. We didn't say the game changer, we did the game changer. In other words, it's not one thing. So far, I've been able to itemize like 8 things that you need to do to change your game forever and for good. Now, let's conclude on this before we go on to the next one. Look, get me back to that slide. Get me back to that. Yeah, the last one now. Look at it. It said, concentrate your attention on the bare essential, so you will live, really live, and not complacently just get by on good behaviors. In other words, when we talk about being on top of your game, good behaviors does not cut it alone. You need good behaviors, don't get me wrong. You need it more than anything. You need to have your character in place, but that alone does not change the dynamics of the game. So you have to live, really live, and not complacently just get by on good behavior. So let's go back to this essential, bare essentials, and then probably we'll pick one today, and then we'll consider the other ones as we move on. So last week I told you about the game that we're going to play, what's called the game, being on top of your game. We talked about the game of performance. We talked about the game of numbers. We talked about this mentioned game of standard. These are the games. You want to be on top of your game. Apart from all those things that we mentioned, you also must be able to play the game of performance. Yeah, very important. Also numbers, standard, structure, network, visibility, exposure. all these things must come as a strategy. Image, reputation. I think I threw out something on my Instagram page that on reputational capital. We threw that out on Monday. You need to go on my Instagram page and then watch it. It's going to change and bless your life for good. So also you have to play the game of strategy. Over these 3 weeks, we'll talk about that. But let us pick one today, and then because of our time, we have today foundation. Let us pick one today and run with it, which is the game of numbers. The game of numbers. Now, guys, let me share with you, you've heard so many times about how me and this guy got this job with a telecoms company, and then he stayed there for 7 years or so. Yeah, almost 7 years, if not more than 7 years. And then nobody could push him out of that space. People tried to push me out of that space, but they couldn't push me out of that space because I was on top of my game there. And one of the things I told my guys is this, we're not the best. I'm not the most eloquent speaker in town. So we have to be delivering 100%, 110% every time we get on this stage. Why do we need to deliver 110% every time? Because we don't want to give them an option to think about someone else. It's only when you don't perform very well or you don't blow their mind, that's when they can say, let us think about it. Let us even look at someone else. Why are we sticking with him? Why is it only him? So we can't afford to give them that idea. That idea should not come into their head at all. So we have to be on top of our game. But let me tell you how this got to be. The first time I had an encounter with this telecoms company was, I can't remember the month. I'm not very good with months, but it was 2010, 10 years ago. So we were discussing, and then I did a job for them. Then they invited me for a bigger event, a bigger discussion to see how we can take whatever I do to a different level entirely. Now, I sat down with them, and luckily for me, you need to listen to this. Luckily for me, I have been going to the university since 2007 to talk to people. Now, when I went there, I took names, phone numbers. I got feedbacks. We collated all the feedbacks. University of Benin in Edo State, Nigeria. University of Federal University of Technology, Akure, University of Ibadan. As we're going to all those places on our own pocket, on our own accord, we were getting those data. Putting those data down. Now, when we started discussing, I thought that it was all going to be about my eloquence of delivery or my ability to tell stories. Although I told my stories, I did all my presentations, but actually I didn't even bring in numbers, I didn't bring in statistics. But you know what got me the job? My numbers. I didn't put the numbers in my presentation, but they pulled out the numbers for me. Because when I sat down there, the head of the youth segment of the telecoms company was there, and we had the director of brands and communication, and then the youth segment team. They were looking, I told the guy, took my files, where I took all my data and everything, my paper, no, not data, my paper, raw data or raw paper, whatever you want to call it. It was going through my paper. I didn't know that he was thinking in numbers. At the end of that process of going through my paper, you know what he did? You know what he said? He said, you have my market. I am interested in what you're doing. I was surprised. But you know what? You won't ask, why did you say that? You just feel cool. Oh, that's good. That's good. I was expecting him to throw me a very, very difficult question, but he's fancying me. He's trying to make me feel good and everything. You know what he said? He said, I've gone through your numbers. I've gone through the phone numbers of the people that come for your meetings. And I realized that it's only 3% of them that are using my telecoms company. They are using the line by my telecoms company. So he said, your platform gives me access to 95%, 97% of the market that I've not reached. I thought it was stories. I thought it was the fact that I would tell them lives have been changed. The student comes in there, they leave, they are better off with their life, they're better with the things that they do and everything. I thought that was going to be what he's going to say, but he didn't say that. Get what he said? He said, you have 97% of the market that I want, because it's only 3% of the people in your meetings that use my line. Wow. So that tells you something, everyone listening to me right now. You want to be on top of your game, you must know how to put numbers together. You must think in numbers, you must talk in numbers, anything you do must be in numbers. Whatever at all you do must be in numbers. You cannot afford to just start telling stories and start talking about things without putting data and analysis into it, because the people at the top, they don't listen to stories. They only listen to numbers. So you want investors in your business? Show me numbers. You want partners to come in with their expertise? Show me numbers. You can't tell me stories. So anybody who is at the top plays with numbers. So if you're going to hit the top of your game, you must also learn how to communicate, think in numbers. Whenever you're telling anybody anything, you know what they're dealing with, especially those people who are at the top. They're thinking, okay, interesting. How does this affect my bottom line? Okay, interesting. How many percentage is this? And that's why when they throw you a question, can you tell us the percentage of that or percentage of this? Because that's how they think. So anybody who wants to be at the top must be able to think in numbers. I have a pyramid here I just want to show you. I think I've explained it already. But when you look at it, when it comes to leadership, I call it the Nia leadership pyramid. At the base is the IQ. At the mid is emotional intelligence. But at the very top is cognitive capacity. Your ability to analyze numbers, your ability to interpret numbers, and your ability to manipulate numbers to your advantage. That is the game at the top, because the people at the top, while the guys are trying to understand process, the guys at the middle are trying to, understand how they get along with people. The guys at the top, the only thing they think about is profit. Just like when you find your shareholders, your CEOs, and everybody. Now, if you want to play that game that they are playing, then whenever you are before them or whenever you're talking to them, you must speak their language. And their language is numbers. Nothing more, nothing less. Numbers. So you must train yourself to love numbers, because without the numbers, you can't hit the top. Everybody who is successful play the game of numbers. So that's why I'm talking to people who are at the top. I don't take too much stories. Elevator speech, you give numbers. You know, sir, if we do this, we have 2% of the market share, but if we do this, we can increase our market share to 2.5, which is about 500,000 more customers, 500,000 more customers. And if we do this and do this again, we'll be able to move it to 4,000, market share, and that will increase our numbers to 5,000 and 5 million people and everything. That is the language that is being spoken at the top. Hope you understand that, guys. Hope you get that. You want to be at the top, you must play the game of numbers. That is number one. Bare essentials that you must understand, you must embrace, and you must imbibe in your life. The other ones will be touched from next week. We'll talk about performance, how to raise your performance game, raise your visibility gain. All those things are the things you bring on. Now somebody's wondering, Lee, how come you're doing a lot of webinars and everything? I'm just playing the visibility game. I'm playing the visibility game. Someone says it's too much. Who told you? It's not too much. When it gets too much, I will know. I'm playing the visibility game. Some people will not come to this webinar, but they will know that me is still around. Now, guess what? Out of sight, it's out of mind. So if you stay out of my sight, then you don't have a mind share with me. You don't have a mind share. So you must stay visible. We'll talk about that next week or upper week, but you don't want to miss anything. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. And then we'll take questions. I hope I've been able to add so that you can know the politics, the side of the political game that you have to play. There should be no table that a decision is made concerning you that you don't have somebody who's got your back. Intentionality is the game. No room for error is the game. Everything you do, you must be intentional about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
It's been a wonderful, wonderful time. Thank you so much. I've written down a whole lot here, and I'm sure that other participants in the class have also been able to take down one or two things. So we really appreciate all that you have done for us today. So without any further ado, if you have questions, I encourage that you please let us know with a show of your hand in the participant section. And if you're on your phone, I think there's a 3 dots at the base of your phone, the Zoom app. Just tap on it and you will see raise hand. So please raise your hand. You will be unmuted. Also activate your video. For those joining us for the first time, this is the leadership series. Thank you so much for tuning in today. It's also a time that you can share the link and let your friends know so that they can join us even in this question and answer session. This is a time that I really like because people share their experiences and we get answers from a very experienced and knowledgeable person. That's Reverend, Pastor Nee Adesoya. Okay, there's a couple of books that are available. The leadership quadrant, individual competitiveness. There's something I'd like to say about that. It's from Pastor Adesoya that I heard that individual competitiveness is about what you know plus how you express what you know multiplied by who you know and who knows you. Okay, if you will need to demystify that and understand it, you will need to request for a copy of that book. You can also find him on social media, and we'll talk about the handles also. So please, we're waiting for your raise of hands, and you will be unmuted. Okay, I can see David Asanga as usual. Can we unmute him? There's also John Aja. I'm unable to unmute him here. I'm using 2 devices, except you.
Kenny, do you want to unmute for us? Well, I have my phone here. I'm looking at my phone, not looking at anyone.
I have Benson as first person here. Tosin, who do you want us to unmute first?
David Asanga raised his hand first.
Okay, all
Please
right.
unmute him. Thanks.
David needs to unmute himself. All right.
Hello?
David, you have permission.
Okay.
Great.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, sir. Yeah. Yeah, this has been very enriching and insightful. I think every Thursday I'm in a university. Let me put it that way. Thank you, sir. My question is, I just need you to shed a little light on the issue of performance and politics. I want to specifically talk on the church. Let's say someone is working in the church, which is also an organization. Now, how do you what do you say about politics in the church? Because when you say politics, it rings a lot of bells in the minds of people, and people begin to wonder. So I just need you to really clarify on this. You made mention of performance. Now, what if someone knows how to play politics so well, and the people in the leadership, in the echelon of leadership, have now, understood this person. They love him, they pay him because he can politics. But now he's lacking in performance. But in any case, they overlook it and still give him what he wants. And this person is on top of his game. How do you reconcile that? I was thinking maybe instead of politics, we should say the person has a good PR. Is a good PR person. So, but when you say politics, I don't know. Maybe it's because of we Africans, the system of politics has been, bastardized. So when you say
I
politics,
understand you. I understand you, David. I would still use the word politics because politics is what politics is. And that's why if you started with us, I started from two angles. I started from Matthew 25, verse 14, telling you what you need to do, how you need to raise your standard, how you need to be intentional about what you do, no allowance for error. That talks about performance, raising your game. Now, this other one talking about what's it called? Knowing how to take care of yourself. Knowing how to take care of yourself talks about the politics. Look, politics is not bad. Politics is not good. Politics is just like the money, naira note or dollar note in your hand. That dollar note is not bad dollar. Neither is it good dollars. But that dollar note takes the personality of the owner or the possessor of that dollar note. So that dollar note in the hands of a drug addict is a drug money. That naira note in the hands of Nia Desanya is a leadership money. Lives will be changed through the dollar being in my hand. Same thing with politics. Politics is amoral. It's not immoral, it's not moral. So it just takes the nature of the people that play it. But definitely, I know you want to say, let us do social networking, social capital and everything, but politics is what politics is. Politics is actually governance and then using the space to get more resources for yourself. And that's the game. You want to get more resources for your ethnic group or your ethnos, your ethnic group and everything like that. You want to make sure that you get those for them. Now, you need to realize this. Nobody gets to the top without playing politics. Now, the only time your politics becomes bad is when you played without performance. It must go hand in hand with performance. But nobody gets to any board, top level board without playing politics. You must be able to fund people. You must be able to know what they want. You must be able to speak their language. Why would I put you in a board that I have interest if you don't have interest in me? Do you think I'll put you in the board because you're a performer? No, there are different kind of performers there. I want somebody who will be in that board who will protect my interests. That is how the game is played at the top. So the best you can ever get to in any establishment, let's use the bank for instance, is only general manager. Even that general manager, even you have to do a lot. Even in appraisal, they don't just look at your ability to deliver the job. They also look at your ability to relate with people, which is the balance. So you cannot run away from it. I know you want to probably use, another kind of synonyms to qualify politics, but politics is what politics is. You have to play it. Yeah, I think yesterday I was talking at the seminar, I was telling them about regulator capture, and I think I mentioned it here. There should be nobody regulating your industry that you don't have a connection with. You must know somebody there. You must be engaged in whatever they're engaged in. All the associations, you must be there. Because when the chiefs are down, those are the people that will speak for you. So when you look at Matthew 25 and the Luke 16, the combination of both. Work on yourself,
Wow.
raise your game, but also relate with other people to get the game. Now, Tosi mentioned something about individual competitiveness. And the formula is so simple. What you know plus how you express what you know, multiplied by who you know and who knows you. That keeps you in the game. That is exactly what kept me in the game with the telecoms coming for 7 good years. Nobody pushed me out. They tried to push me out. Some were angry. Why is he getting all those attention? But they did not know that in as much as I bring in my A game, I also know how to relate and connect with people. That's what I call politics. I knew the MD. I connected with the MD when I spoke. He fell in love with my performance, but I didn't stay with the MD alone. I became friends to everybody that has a say in the budget that I was spending in that organization. The MD left after 3 or 4 years, but I still stayed there for like 6, 7 years. Because their naming ceremony is my naming ceremony. Their end of the year party in their homes is my end of the year party. Their wedding is my wedding. Their promotion is my promotion. So I was with them all through. That's what we're talking about. By the time chiefs are down, people say, no, we want this. I mean, people came to my space, but the people inside that space protected my interest. And let me say this, I wasn't giving any bribe. Nobody demanded something from me before they did something. No, nobody did. I wasn't giving any bribe, but I was smart enough to know that these guys must be my friends. To the point that when they travel sometimes to their hometown, they're having functions, I travel with them just to show face because I have a budget to spend there. Hope you understand that, David.
Yes,
Over
sir.
to you,
Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. I can see John Aja, and you're going to be unmuted now. John Aja dropped his hand. Bernard, are you ready? Please let's unmute Bernard. I'm still having issues switching between these two devices, so I'm unable to unmute. Good. You may speak now, Bernard.
Okay, thank you very much. I so much appreciate your time. This is my first time actually to join you. My name is Bennett,
Okay.
and I based. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Yes, I said my name is Bennett, and I'm based in Sweden. And it's yesterday I got to know you actually from when you spoke in the Pensioners Group companies. So I bought some of the land from them. So, and I was like, who is this man? Like what you spoke. I was like, so then I went straight to YouTube, I searched your name. And today at my job, I listened to almost every, like I use my earpiece, I listened to almost, I was like, shit, I love this man, So then I fell in love, like when you're speaking, how you capture people's mind, so I started today to listen a lot of your speak. So I must say thank you very much, and we always continue to participate in everything, and I will also love you to at least to mentor me. I have some businesses in Nigeria which I'm planning to move in the neither is Bishop, but I want to like to start now to prepare myself so that not like when I get there, then I will, someone is still managing that for me. But when you are not there, it's not like it's not moving the way I want. But they're still doing well. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. But something I want to just explain to us more about this high standards. You said I understand. I can understand like a little bit what you mean by high standard, but some businesses in Nigeria is like when you put this kind of high standard, I don't know if what you mean, that some people cannot, some people say it's too expensive. I don't know if it's like that area you say like high standard, like making your product or a lot of things to be like quality, or I don't understand. So I just want you to just throw a little bit right on that high standards. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, good. When you talk about high standard here, quality of service and quality of product, look, even if you raise your standard, I mean, we're talking about the quality of the product right now, the people that will buy will buy. It's just that probably you are in the wrong market or you are servicing the wrong market. So the different types of marketing, Type 1, Type 2, Type 3, the mass market, the mid-level market, and the high net worth individual. So some people, no matter how much quality you bring on your product, if you raise the game there, they will still buy. So you must just know how to sell premium tickets, sell premium things. And then one of the ways you can do that is by raising your own personal standard, which is quality of service. What I actually meant there was quality of service, but that does not stop you from raising the quality of your product. You need to raise also the quality of your product. That's both ways. But the quality of service, how you service these people is also very important. I have, there was a time I was selling tickets at, ticket programs at sometimes, 10,000 naira. People need to start converting them to dollars for me those days. 10,000 naira, 20,000 naira, 100,000 naira. But now we do ticket of $10,000, $3,000, $2,000, and it's just an easy way of getting things done. So since you went to my YouTube, I would advise you to go back there again and listen to my Instagram page. I'm sure it's on the YouTube. I don't know. My Instagram page, go and learn about the reputational capital. The reason why you can charge more for your product is because your reputation has preceded you. People know you, they respect you, they love you, and then whatever you call, because you have results, whatever you call your price is what people will pay for it. So know that one, you can raise the quality of your product and then demand a particular amount, provided you are servicing the right market. So we need to look at your business and look at how we can change the dynamics for you. So if you drop your number, private number to me, privately to me on this chat, drop it, I'll do private message, drop it to me, my people will pick it up, and then we'll take it up from there. That's one.
Thank you,
Two,
sir.
what I'm actually mean is that you need to raise the quality of your service. Raise the quality, the standard of your service. You need to raise it. That does not necessarily put more, more money on the product itself. But the people who are buying from you are buying because of the way you make them feel, of the way you show interest, empathy, and sympathy, and connection with them, which is very, very important. Most people do not realize this. The guy who makes money is not the guy who sells once. It's the guy who resells and keep reselling and reselling and reselling. Apple is not making money, did not make too much money from iPhone 1. They start making money from 2, 3, 4, 5 to 11, and they're doing X, whatever they're doing right now. But you need to realize that you don't make money from selling. You make money from reordering. And if you have to do reorder, you must be able to bring in your service, the quality of your services, the service, and the standard of your services must be beyond average. You just must look at the normal thing that pervades the whole spectrum or your industry and raise your game, raise your services. And that way it will help you be able to stay on top of it. I hope that helps you.
Yes, sir.
Good. So we'll connect. I can see that you dropped your number. My people
Yes,
take
sir.
that number and we can connect. And
Thank you.
there's a program tomorrow that is starting tomorrow. It's called the Sales Academy. That's why I'm here. People who have been here will know that this is not my normal background. We're trying to test the studio so that we can have a wonderful time tomorrow. We're having it tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Wednesday for 3 weeks. Friday, Saturday, Wednesday, 3 p.m. Nigerian time to 6 p.m. on Fridays and Sunday on Fridays and Saturdays. And then Wednesday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Nigerian time. So I think you should be part of it. And
so how can we participate, sir?
There is a $200 program, but
Okay.
I think there is a discount of 20%. And I'm sure my people will send you a private chat right now to see how you can be part of it. You should be part of it. Even the people you have in Lagos also should be part of it so that they can know how to sell. We're going to be breaking a whole lot of things down there. You need to be part of it. We're bringing so much of experienced people. People who sell to mass markets, the director of sales, Friesland Capina, the maker of milk, peak milk. We have Femi George, is a high net worth individual specialist. He's an expert in that selling to high net worth individuals. We have Adeoya Boduri. Adeoya Boduri is a psychologist, is everything. I mean, he knows how to hack the mind of your customers. And not just that, we have Mr. Strategy that is Shodesi, and then my guy who does so much with gamification. Gamification, and we bring some fun into the training, and it teaches something that I love so much. Biology, not biology, biology. How to buy. Biology. So, and again, we have one woman in our midst, but electrifying woman. You need to listen to her, how to sell online, So you can't afford to miss it better. Just share your content.
Thank you, sir.
Sharing with you, and then get in there from tomorrow. That's why we have all this studio. Come on, show them this studio. Can you highlight it for them to see? Spotlight it, Kenny. Don't worry, spotlight it. We are getting ourselves ready. So actually, we're using you guys as practice today. So anything we didn't get right is for us to perfect it tomorrow. Can you say, okay, don't worry, let's just go on. Kenny, Tosin, when Kenny
okay, sir. Thank you for using us as guinea pigs. We are fine. Okay, guys, thank you for staying this far. You can still send this the link and the invite to join this class to your colleagues, your friends, and contacts are being dropped on the chat section right now, just in case you haven't seen them. Please take note of these contacts and share with your business associates, share with your colleagues at the office, your supervisors and subordinates, as well as your family members and friends. Let them be a part of all these sessions that are being announced. Just before I take John Aja, his hand has been on actually. Just before I do that, I was going to reel out the handles of Pastor Nia Adesanya, and Bernard just mentioned the YouTube page. So it is Nia Adesanya on YouTube. Please do well to subscribe and follow the other handles. N Adesanya on Instagram, Nia Adesanya on Facebook, and also N Adesanya on Twitter. I mean, he shared a very phenomenal episode yesterday on Instagram about building reputational capital, and it was absolutely phenomenal. So if you're a business person, I think you need to watch it tonight or before you go to bed, and also share it with other people, because the truth that was dislodged in that video is something you probably have to read in a book, or something you probably have to pay, to access. We'll talk about paying to access certain information later, but before then, let's take John Aja. John Aja, you are unmuted and you may go ahead to speak now.
All right, Tosin, thank you so much. Pastor Lee, good day to you.
How are you, sir?
Good evening, everyone. I tried reaching out earlier to you, but your line was actually not reachable. It seems your all this setup. Now I see why it was unreachable. Okay. I joined quite late in this meeting because I'm just coming in, not up to 30 minutes ago, because I have a client I needed to talk with. Now, quickly, when I came in, I was at the point when you were talking of the numbers. And I know I have really missed a whole lot, which I will like to catch up with later. But then there is this question I wanted to ask. In a situation where you already have more like a market you're in control of, or a market you are already servicing, and you want to move into a new market where you possibly need to start breaking new grounds by virtue of either connecting with new persons that control that market. How do you go about that? Now, I want to use an instance here to clarify what I meant. With what we're doing currently, it's a solution that takes care of revenue collection for every state. And particularly, we are in one state right now, and we've finalized a whole lot of things. Now, we wanted to get into another state where we have nobody on ground there, and we've not done anything in that place before. I want to find out how possible or how easy will it be, or what would be your advice to entering a new market where you've not really shown your capability at first?
So did you get that?
Okay, how easy is it to penetrate a new market?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the new state. Now, how long have you been doing this present states that you are doing stuff for? How long have you been doing that?
Okay, we've been on it for this current one we started now. It's about 7 months, but I've been with the revenue board doing other projects for them for a period of 3 years now.
Okay, you know they always say this, that you are four people away from anybody you want to meet.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are. I mean, even Trump, the president of America, you're 4 people away from Trump. But the difficult job is for you to figure out that person that you know, that knows somebody. For instance, now you are working with the Inland Revenue of your state. So you know the head of Inland Revenue, who knows the commissioner for finance, who probably know the what's it called, the governor, who knows the minister for foreign affairs, who knows the what's it called, the permanent secretary or permanent representative of the United States to United Nations, and then boom, you're there in the White House. That's how easy it is, but it's difficult to always figure out the first person, and to impress the first person to be able to take you to the next person. So whichever state that you're going, the people you're working with presently know somebody in that state.
Okay.
So what you need to do is to find out, okay, we're going in here, how can we get into the state? Now, everybody is naturally selfish. So everybody is what's in it for me. So you want to get into that state, the person who's going to take you into that state. If you have not built solid relationship with the person yet, you must be able to trade with some things so that they can get you into that state. Do you understand?
Okay.
But at the same time, what you're doing right now, that's why I asked you, how long have you been doing it? You know, if you do it so well and there's so much noise about what you've done, the people, your product or your services will make so much noise for you. Anybody who is collecting revenue in Lagos can collect revenue anywhere because they've done an awesome, perfect job where they are. So sometimes you also need to do a perfect job, a loud job, very loud, and make so much noise about it So before you know what's happening, even before you start looking for somebody within your state that can connect you to the other states, they are also already calling you that if they can do this in that state and get that kind of result, we need this kind of guy to come over to our state and help us also. So in the process of doing that, once you raise your game like that, you connect with them, but know very well that you still have to look for the kingpin. We call them the kingpin, the kingmakers in every situation or location you find yourself. You must be able to look for the kingmakers. Because I tell people this in this my studio right now. Yeah, studio. Yeah, studio. Yeah, this is studio. In this my studio right now, I am very powerful, very powerful. But when I get outside my street there, my power will reduce by some fraction or so probably some percentages. Do you understand? So every location, somebody who is powerful becomes less powerful in some other locations. So you must look for the kingpin in that location because they are the ones that will make the decision at the meetings. So they have to say, no, 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 no. This is the person who want to do it. Remember, you're not the only one who's collecting revenues for government. Other people are. And then by the time they throw it open, Bureau of Public Procurement, whatever they call it. The rule in civil service or public procurement is that there must be 2 or 3 people that bidded for the job. But sometimes when they now advertise that other people should present their papers, they've already decided on who they wanted. They're just doing that to fulfill all righteousness, to make sure that they cover up the book. So you must have done your own work. What I would advise you to do is that look for people within your state who can introduce you to the other people within, in the other states, but at the same time, do an excellent job. Do a loud job. Let it be vibrating all over the region that you are in. People will come look for you.
It's all right. Thank you so much, sir. Maybe tomorrow I'll get in touch with you before the evening class.
Okay, yeah, you must be there, definitely.
All right,
awesome.
sir.
But you know, John, you know we're having another program on Sunday.
I'm aware, sir. I'll call you tomorrow morning. Like I'm really tired right now. I'll call you tomorrow, sir.
Okay, no problem. Okay, toss it over to you.
Yes, sir. I'll take the next person. You're unmuted. I think it's Emmanuel or something.
Yes. Yes, good evening, sir. Thank you so much for what you've shared with us today. And amazingly, in my own opinion, all you talked about today was politics. And I was quite happy that somebody was asking a question on politics, which is an area that I've read a little bit about. But when you said things like everything must be intentional, to me, that's politics. And you also said something about, you also said something about thinking proactively. That's politics. But since you've started quoting scriptures already, there's another scripture where Jacob wrestled with an angel and obtained power both with God and with man. That is politics. So politics is simply the activities that aim towards improving someone's status or increasing power in an organization. I'm just trying to respond, just to add to what you have said to my brother, and then I will ask a question. So politics, okay. You said something today which made a very good sense to me, that politics should be played for the greater good of humanity. So I took note of that politics should be played for the greater good of humanity. So no matter which industry you're playing, if it's in the non-profit or for-profit industry, politics should be played for the greater good of humanity. That's about the best word, the best sentence I had today. So I want to ask a question. In your own opinion, do you agree that politics is a game of empathy? For instance, we all know what empathy means when you put yourself in another person's shoes. The other day when Femi Asenuga was on the platform, I started thinking about the challenges he's going through as the MD of an insurance company in Nigeria. And I started trying to proffer some solutions that will make his time in office easier. That endeared me to him, and he sent me his contact. Is that politics in your own opinion? Is politics a game of empathy? That's my question, sir.
Oh, definitely. Politics is a game of empathy. Look, just like you said, it's always trying to get the best for the people. Politics is all about getting the best from the resources for the people. And then it's always a game of empathy. There is no politics without emotion. Sometimes you may look at some people, they are emotionless, but that doesn't mean they are not emotional towards some people. The people that they're trying to protect their interests, they're emotional towards that. So it's a game of empathy, it's a game of seriousness, it's a game of wickedness, it's a game, because you have to be able to balance it. You have to balance the time where you have to show empathy, like the Bible says that there's time to embrace and there's time to refrain from embracing. That's all about politics, definitely. You were able to get to him. He took interest in you. And once he took interest in you, you guys have been talking, I guess, as much. And then you guys can do a lot of things through that. And then you're right. It's also a game of empathy, sympathy, if you like, and then every other thing. But you just must be able to connect with the people. What you want to do is that you want to advance your cause. Politics is your ability to advance your cause. Now, we threw a balance there, we threw a caveat there, based on what is good, for the greater good. Even if I'm advancing my cause, I'm not trying to do that deliberately to make some people fail woefully. Jonathan will fail woefully, but sometimes in the business area, you're looking for the same job. I can't say because I want to have empathy. I got the job yesterday. I got the job the day before yesterday. So this particular job, I can allow you get it. No, I must get it also. I can always give you, I can buy your company later and give you a respite. That's the business they're in. But I hope that I'm able to balance all these things up for you. The business they're in, empathy is there, but the empathy doesn't mean that because I want the space, you want the space. We are territorial in the business space. So I'm using all that I have, all my connection that I have to make sure that I advance my territory, I advance my barrier, and then my boundaries. So if advancing my boundaries gets to your own boundary, we'll have to slug it out. I don't have to be sympathetic or empathetic about it with you. But when it comes to connecting with people, you have to connect emotionally, just like you do with Ashenia. I hope that helps.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Appreciate
it. Thank you, sir. Thanks, Emmanuel. I'll take Iola now. His hand went up before G. So, Iola, you are unmuted. Please go ahead.
Iola.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Iola.
Good evening, sir. Thank you for today. And I say, in a lighter mood, sir, your other screen look like somebody doing quotation in front of Oracle.
Is it quotation these days, though? You know, Oracle is also an IT company.
Thank you, sir. Firstly, I want to say thank you for my brother that asked the first question. I took exception to the word politics. I quite understand. And thank you, sir, for not changing it but explaining it better. Because the way the word is being used in our own society has made it look as like a barbaric thing. But nevertheless, it's a necessity in our lifestyle. Thank you very much, sir. Made us to understand that politics and performance goes hand in hand. That is very, very, very profound. And if I'm not passing my boundary in playing my politics well, the way you've explained politics to us, sir, I'm trying to find out when is the next naming ceremony. I would like to be there.
I will let you know.
All right. All right, my question, sir. Politics, especially in the marketplace that all of us have found ourselves. Sometimes there's a conflict between this politics and morality, integrity, and personal standards. Sometimes this could be a murky water, and navigating through it could be very challenging. What is your take on this, sir? That's my question, sir.
Well, I think if we look at what we said, taking from one of our foundational texts that we use, if you can get me back that slide, Luke 16, verse 8, yeah. It said, for what is good, for what is good, for the greater good. I think Emmanuel alluded to that also, for the greater good. Now, whatever you do, there will be a lot of splashing of muddy water here and there. But at the end of the day, you check your out and realizes that, look, this is not just for me, this is for the greater good of humanity. And then that's where you can draw the balance. And again, in as much as you play politics, now, listen to me, sometimes I would try to bid for a job that I know I am not qualified to do. When I get the job, I will not push for it unless I have somebody who can deliver on that job perfectly. Some people will push for it. Some people will go for it. Some people will do everything. I don't blame them. But for me, I would rather look for someone who is very good at that thing and then partner with the person going forward. So because I want my conscience to be very clear, so that when I get the job and I can't perform very well, or I didn't do a nice job, I don't start feeling that, okay, I denied somebody from getting that role. First, I will activate my network to make sure I get that job. Because I know, I always tell people this, I've been able to develop myself and develop the people around me and develop my relationship to a point where I tell people I can do all things. I can do all things through the people that surround me. I can do all things through people that surround me. There is nothing I believe on the surface, on the face of this earth that I can't do. Bring it up. I will not be the one to do it. I have built a lot of relationships that can make me do it. But in the process where it starts conflicting with your integrity, your character, you want to step out of it. Now, one of the reasons why I've not been able to work with the public sector in Nigeria is because I just can't see myself going through those processes without getting into some muddy waters. I mean, it's so difficult for me to see it. Probably the day I see it, I'll be able to send some of my proposals to them and everything, but I just try to protect that. But it's not everybody that has that. It's not everybody that has that kind of mentality or that kind of disposition. So some people will go in there no matter what. I better maybe go there. It's not about the money. It depends on what is also driving you. Is it money that is driving you? Is it value that is driving you? Is it integrity that is driving you? Those things are very, very important also. But in the process of even trying to do it based on your integrity, based on your character, I tell you, you will still have some splashes of mud on your white clothes. But you must just know how to dry clean it and make it clean. And then at the end of the day, there is communication. You communicate effectively, continuously to people so that they can know where you stand and where you're coming from. I hope that helps.
Mr. Yola, did that help?
Very well, very well. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Before we go on to the last person, Galaxy A70, please get ready. If you have any question and you're in the house, probably you do not want to speak out directly and you don't want to enable your video, please drop your question in the chat section. And I want to specifically say that if you have a question you want to send in anonymously, you can send directly to me so that we will take your question and I will read it out just as you have sent it anonymously, just for people who do not want their name to be displayed alongside their questions. So, like I said earlier, please do well to follow Pastor Nii Adesoya. Sorry, my pastor's name is Nii as well. Okay, so please follow Nii Adesoya on Instagram at @Adesoya. You will see all of his speaking engagements to come. On YouTube, you will see all of his speaking engagements past, right? And also spread the word. I know he's speaking at a speakers forum soon where they will be teaching on public speaking. So if you are having issues with communication, making a public presentation, you might want to go to his page or his news Insta story, and you will find all of those flyers there. He's also going to be talking about pastoring in the marketplace on some other platforms soon. So you need to just go on his page and find out more about all these events and make sure that you engage in those events, invite other people as well. Galaxy A70, I believe you're ready now, and you are unmuted. Please, you may speak now. Galaxy A7, A70. Are you there? Your hand is still raised. Kenny, could you help out just in case it's not?
He needs to unmute, so it's not.
Yeah, so if you can hear me, Galaxy A70, your hand is raised. Please unmute yourself now.
Okay, while we wait for him to unmute himself, I think I should just announce some of our programs that are coming up. Tomorrow, we're having, apart from the Sales Academy that is starting tomorrow, all of us will still have the privilege of 20% discount to be part of that. But apart from that, 7 p.m. tomorrow, we're having the Speakers Academy open house. And then that is more like a coaching program where we coach you, we help you develop your speaking skills. I believe that people are not to be taught how to speak. They are supposed to be coached how to speak. So on Friday, 7 p.m., you can check my Instagram page and get all the details. We will be having that. So if you also want to give a presentation for 5 minutes, you need to also let us know. But let me warn you, if you give that presentation for 5 minutes, we're going to use you as a lab rat to teach other people how to do it better. So you have to make sure, but at least you will learn a lot of things. So just go in there, give your intention to do that 5 minutes, but it will give you the details on how you can do it, because you have to understand it. You have to see, you can't sit to make that presentation. You have to see your whole body, more or less, when you're making the presentation. So please, 7 p.m. tomorrow, I think everybody should be involved in that, because life is all about communication. Life is all about selling. And then on Saturday, normally, our Saturday game is we have morning series. And this time around, we're having Mr. Gabriel Ogbeche. Mr. Gabriel Ogbeche is the managing director of Reynor, downstream sector. He has many tank farms. He has, I think, 4 or 5 ships that he imports and exports fuel, crude oil and everything. So you need to learn how he took his game from where he started from. He's known it for over 20 years now. There was a time he had his office in Oba, and then seeing his office in Lekki, Oniru, in Far Cry. So we need him to come and tell us how he was intentional about that. So 7 p.m. on Saturday, you need to join us on the morning series. Everyone needs to join us so that we can learn on that. And on Sunday, for those of us who are members of the Sanctum, Business Sanctum, we'll be having a program with Ezekiel, Wisdom Ezekiel. He's the co-founder of Pertinence. And what is he going to talk about? The real estate market. The good, the unreasonable, and the wicked. You need to know before you get in there. The good, the unreasonable, and the wicked. Sanctum is a private meeting that you have to be a member before you can join. So you can put a call to 08033042762, 08033042762, so that you can join that on Sunday, 7 p.m. And they'll tell you what it takes to be part of that. Saturday is 7 p.m. Saturday is 7 p.m. And then for those of us who are into business, you need to be part of that. And it will really, really change your mind. But don't forget, we guys are going to be having a swell time starting from tomorrow. It's called the Sales Academy. Everything you do yourself, everything you do yourself. So you must, as a matter of necessity, join that program tomorrow. It's going to run for 3 weeks, and we're going to be having a lot of group discussion, a lot of activities going on, and at the end of the day, you come out of there, you are able to sell. Now, listen to me. Whether the second wave will come or not, we pray it doesn't come. But with all the numbers staring at us, it seems that the second phase is going to happen. A second wave is going to happen. But we pray it does not happen. So this is the time for you to sell and sell and sell and sell before the thing shows up, the second wave. So that's why you cannot afford to miss this meeting, the the Sales Academy. You have an advantage of a 20% discount. You grab it right away. Grab it right away, and then good. But remember, next Thursday we'll be talking about 2 of those bare essentials. I don't know which one I want to talk about yet, but you get to see it on our advert as we move on. But you must be part of that also every Thursday here. Good. So, do we have any other hands up?
There are no hands raised up, sir, and there are no questions in the chat section, if I am correct.
Is she correct?
Yes, am I correct?
Yes, you're good.
Okay, fantastic. So since we don't have any question, please know that the policies of your game must be played. You must play it. You must play the connection game. You must play the visibility game. You must play the number game. You don't go to anybody who is at the top and you tell them stories. You must show them numbers, empirical proof, numbers, data, analysis. When you talk, before you complete 2 or 3 sentences, let there be a number in it. That is the only time they will pay you attention, because they think in numbers, they sleep in numbers, everything they do is in numbers. You don't give them numbers, you don't get their attention. So people at the base of the pyramid, you can tell them stories. But the people at the top, they are not given to stories. They want numbers. You have to show it to them and you have to prove it to them. And guys know this very well. There should be no point at all anywhere a decision is being made about you that you do not have somebody who's got your back. That is how to look after yourself. That is how to look after yourself. My first high-paying job was in 2005. It was about 25,000 naira then, 25,000 naira, 250,000 naira then. I was negotiating for the first time, but 2 people came to meet me and they were negotiating. One, you know how to do the negotiation. Those of us who are into negotiation, see, there's one is paying the good guy and the other one is paying the bad guy. And then that's what they did to me. One was playing the good. So I got connected with they ruffled me a little bit, but I got the number of the good guy. So when I was going to make my bidding, when I was going to bid, I called the guy, thanking him first for being so nice with me at the meeting. And then the second time I called him saying, okay, I want to make this presentation. What would you advise me to build? He said I should build 200,000 naira. So okay, thank you, sir. So I raised it to 300,000 naira. And then I got 250,000 naira at the end of the day. Now you can see that I had to make sure that's the new terrain that I was going to, but I made sure that there's somebody who can actually voice for me at that meeting. because there could be one or two other people who are interested in that job. But you know what? They knew I could perform because they've seen me on TV before, but it's a different ballgame entirely when you start negotiating. Somebody must be there who has your back. And with the telecoms company, you know what happened? It was an instruction from the MD. See how you can work with him, not see if you can work with him. The instruction, like I got to know later, was figure out how you can work with him. So it was an instruction for them to work with me. So you can see that what we're doing at the board meeting, going through my data analysis was formality, more or less. You just have to be able to confirm to their boss that we can work with this guy, not that if they can work with me or not. That was not the thing on the table. So you must know how to connect with people wherever you go. That is how to stay on top of your game. People came to my space, they came to push me out of that space, but because I had strong people already I've connected with, I have played politics with performance, I was able to stay there for 7 good years, That's what we're talking about, the understanding the politics of your game, understanding the dynamics of relationship, understanding the dynamics of knowing how to connect with people that matters. It's very, very important for you to stay there. You can be very good, but we know the best guy does not get the best job. It's the best guy with the best connection. Is it Emmanuel? Is it Umamadu? Is it Umamadu that they say that in your area? Man, no man. Am I right? Unmute Emmanuel so that I can talk, respond to this. Can you unmute? Okay, good.
Emmanuel, you're muted.
Okay, sir. Imamadu Kego.
Imamadu Kego.
Yes.
So
it's better to know people than to have money.
I shortened that. Let me take away the ego from there. Umamadu. In other words, you must know people. Man would know man. You must know people to stay on top of your game. Performance alone does not keep you there, but politics must keep you there. Knowing the regulators, very, very important. The decision makers in whatever level of decision must be aware of you, must be aware of your performance, and must be aware of your good heart and your interest in that. Thank you. I think I ended there. Thank you guys for coming along and for listening. And I'm sure this has been of a benefit to you. Don't worry, we'll go on with the game changers going on next week, and every part of this week. This month is going to be about game changers. Talk about the different things that you need to bring on board. So guys, there is a question here there. Just quickly, everybody, just quickly go there.
Okay, we can hear you now.
Thank you. Can we reduce the sound a little bit? We are starting a leadership community on Telegram, and I'm sure they will put some details there. You need to join me on Telegram. We're trying to build that community there. So make sure you go there, invite your friends, let them know about it, and then leadership community on Telegram. Most of our slides will be shown there. You just need to get there as quick as possible, as fast as you can. So thank you, everyone. Tosin, thank you for a good job, well done job. I know I took you by surprise, but you
yes, I was surprised. I got my script at 10 minutes past 7. That was surprise.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for doing a good job.
Welcome,
you've been fantastic ever since. There are some regulars here. Inyola Inloye, regular. John Aja, when I don't hear the question, it's as if the day has not been good or something like that. They are always there. Thank you guys for joining in. Those of us who can join us tomorrow, please make sure you do. It's going to be a fantastic time. It's going to be a time, mind-blowing sessions. Mind-blowing session. I can guarantee you that. Mind-blowing sessions. So please join us tomorrow. Tomorrow from 3 p.m. But it is not free. It's $160, and then we'll go on a cruise together. Your sales acumen, your sales delivery, your sales knowledge is about to take a different turn entirely. I guarantee you that. So guys, thank you for joining in. See you tomorrow if you can. Saturday, all of us, yes, we must. And then Friday, let's help you with your public speaking. Let me coach you. Let me coach you for free. Let me coach you for free. Can you imagine that? Let me coach you for free tomorrow, 7 p.m. Get to my link. If you want to make a presentation, let us know. We'll give you what you need to do, and then we'll coach you. We'll hold your hand. But no, it's going to be tough. You know, we used to do something when we were gathering every second Sunday, like 10, 15 years ago. We call it PhD. PhD means pull him down or pull her down. So anybody who stood up to speak knows that everybody there, they're not going to see anything good in whatever speech you're giving. Because the rule there is that you must pull him down, you must find a mistake. And this is our mentality then, that if we can pull you down here, nobody will be able to pull you down outside there on the stage. But you know what? We're not doing PhD tomorrow. We're not doing PhD tomorrow. We're not pulling you down. Rather, we are pulling you up tomorrow. We're pulling you up tomorrow. So if you want to be part of that, make sure you sign up immediately. Thank you, guys. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow is free. I mean, the evening, the Sales Academy is 160. And also, let me say a big thank you to the people who are behind the scene. You can see all the screen here, but there's a Kende Aineru at the back of the screen. There's Samuel Ubeda. There is Michael Ola Tokumbo. There is Joshua Uzoka. And then I have Juliet and Bolaji very far away, somewhere there within Lagos. Thank you all for joining in, and then hope to see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Music, please.
Thank you so much, Seth. So can we all be unmuted now? Should we do that, sir? So that
Okay,
we can all say thank you. Okay, so as our custom is, and as I learned from Toronto, please let's say thank you. All unmuted now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Jerusalem, ikayalami, ilondoloze, uhambe nami, zungangishilana. Jerusalem, ikayalami, ilondoloze, uhambe nami, zungangishilana.